Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Whisky and Sports. It's Friday night. There's Premiership football tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. It's also the end of the week, so I've got my whisky here and I'm going to do some predictions for the games of the weekend. Tonight's whisky is the Nikia from the barrel. This was a Christmas present for my wife, and as you can see, I've been liking this whisky very much. As always, there'll be a link in the description below to this whisky, so if you do fancy tasting it, follow that link. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the games that are happening this weekend. First game up on BT Sport first thing tomorrow morning is Arsenal Burnley. So I think that this is going to be obviously the first home game of the season for Arsenal. I think it's going to be a comfortable win. I think this is going to be a 3-1 win for Arsenal. Now we get into the 3 p.m. kickoffs. First game here is Villa Bournemouth. Obviously Villa were very unlucky last weekend not to beat Spurs, or at least to get a draw. So I think they're going to carry that good form into this game, and I think they're going to run out 2-1 winners. The next game is Brighton West Ham. Again, Brighton got off to a very good start last weekend, beating Watford. I think that they're going to continue that form, and I think that West Ham, although they were a little bit unlucky last weekend, getting trounced by a very good Man City side, I think they're going to be a little bit hurting from that. So I think that Brighton's going to win this game 2-0. Next game, we move to Everton. Everton obviously played out a very dull 0-0 draw with Palace, the first game of the season. And I think this is going to be an equally dull but scoring draw this time. I think this is going to be a 1-1 scoreline. The next game is Norwich Newcastle. Obviously both teams got beat in the opening season. Norwich got beat by Liverpool and Newcastle got beat by Arsenal. I think that this is going to be a fairly close game. But however, I think the new boys Norwich are going to pip Newcastle to this. I think that Norwich are going to run out eventual 2-1 winners. The last 3 p.m. kickoff of the weekend is Southampton v Liverpool. Now initially I did have Liverpool down as a much higher winners than this. However, they played a slugfest on Wednesday night against Chelsea in the Super Cup. However, I still think that they've got too much for Southampton, and I do think they'll win it, but I think they'll only win it by 2-0. The 5:30 kickoff, or the evening kickoff game, is City v Spurs. It's hard to argue with what City did at the weekend. Last weekend, obviously beating West Ham 5-0, and Spurs were pretty sluggish for most of their game, getting their act together towards the end, then running out easy 3-1 winners over Villa. However, I think that they're going to meet their match here with City, so I think that City's actually going to run out 3-0 winners. Moving into the Sunday, and we've got our last of the promoted teams, Sheffield United v Palace. Like I said, Sheffield United already got some points on the board with that draw from Bournemouth, and Palace again drew with Everton. I think that Sheffield United are actually going to take this one. I think that Sheffield United are going to run out 1-0 winners. The last game on Sunday, Chelsea v Leicester. Leicester obviously had that 0-0 draw with Southampton. No, it wasn't Southampton. With Wolves. And that VAR decision. And obviously Chelsea getting quite a hammering by Man United, although they did play well for that first 60-65 minutes. I think their performance in midweek against Liverpool improved dramatically, and I think they're going to learn from that. I think they're getting their act together. They got a right rollicking. I think they've got a rocket shoved up them from Lampard. So I think they're on a mission to prove what they can do. I think Chelsea are going to win this 2-1. Now we turn to our last game of the weekend, which is obviously Wolves v Man United at Wolves, a game that Man United lost last year 2-1, I believe, on both occasions. I think that Man United are probably a different animal this year at this time, and I think they're probably a little bit wounded from both defeats last year. One obviously in the FA Cup, and the other in the league. So I think that United are really gunning for Wolves this year. I think that United will win 3-1. So that's my predictions for this weekend, guys. Just a little bit of fun, a little bit of an interesting note that if you followed those score lines and you did either over or under 2.5 goals, so that would be Arsenal over 2.5. Villa Bournemouth over 2.5, Brighton West Ham under 2.5, Everton Watford under 2.5, Norwich Newcastle over 2.5, Southampton Liverpool under 2.5, City Spurs over 2.5, Sheffield United Palace under 2.5, Chelsea Leicester over 2.5, and Wolves Man United again over 2.5. For those odds, for those score lines, and for a £10 bet, you return 451 to 1. But remember, guys, only ever gamble responsibly, and only ever gamble what you can afford to lose. So that's my predictions for this weekend. Let's see how we get on. Remember, if you like these videos, to hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and ring that notification bell. It really helps the channel grow, and that means that you won't miss any of our content.